Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be trying to play this mono red combo deck that was a very absurd deck a little while back. It kind of prioritizes itself around a lot of things which we'll get to. But the main thing that we want to do is cast a lot of spells for really cheap, have something like an Urbras flip over and do a lot of damage. And how do we do that? It all kind of revolves around Artist Talent. Artist Talent is a card from Bloomborough that we've had for a while, but whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Very good clause at keeping the engine going in this deck, getting rid of like clunky lands or cards that are too expensive like Virtues and Season the Bold. But oftentimes on turn 3 we actually want to take that turn off as well and level this up. We really only do that in the slow matchups. Against like aggro, a lot of times we have enough burn that we can kind of burn things out of our way until we play this, and then we try to reduce it on a later turn, holding up, say, a burst lightning or a lightning strike, something along those lines. But if we get this on those two modes, next piece of the puzzle is the Virtue and Urbras, which kind of do the combo killing in this deck. But Urbras says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, deals 1 damage to target opponent, we add a red. So any spell we cast for 1 mana then replaces itself in the mana pool, right? So with this leveled up to 2, non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast. We have Burst Lightning, which is 1, replaces Shock, which is 1, Grab the Prize, which is 1, Lightning Strike, which is 1, and then Rend Resolve, which is 1, which obviously helps us out a lot, and then makes Monument cheaper, Season cheaper, and Virtue here, which is 4 other copies. The second little adventure side is a card that would then cost 1 mana, so we even have more over here if you want to think of it that way. And then with that, we do have a mode that doesn't come up necessarily today, but it can come up or would have come up if needed. But we can pay a red, exile Urbrask, and then return it to the battlefield transformed in its control. It starts on mid 1, where it does 3 damage to target opponent. Each creature they control will create 3 treasures. Until in a turn, you may cast instant sorcery cards from the graveyard, and then it also flips back over. So if this ever goes through all the modes and flips back over, we're winning the game. But the other part of the puzzle is a Virtue of Courage. Obviously, this is a very expensive kind of combo, and you can get there actually really easy. And you'll see in the matchups how easy it actually is. But whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards this turn. So basically what ends up happening, if we have a talent online and leveled up, we have a Virtue in play, and then we hardcast in the Urbrask. A Lightning Strike is a loot if we want it, where we discard a card and draw a card, but at minimum is a draw 4, because Urbrask will ping them for 1, replacing that mana, which will trigger the Virtue, and then the Lightning Strike will hit them and then trigger the Virtue, and that'll be a draw 4. So most likely if you have the combo going and your opponent's tapped out, you will win the game. Outside of that, we do have a backup plan in here, and that is a Monument of Endurance, a card that has been often played in other variations and obviously goes pretty well with Artist Talent in general. But if we have to play this and then play this and just kind of go, okay, I'll send a Lightning Strike at you, discard a card, draw a card, my Lightning Strike for 2 mana is now dealing 6 damage, and we can obviously close the game very quick with Burst Lightnings and Shock doing 5 damage every time we cast a spell, thanks to the Artist Talent, of course. And then we just have to keep our hand full with things like Rend Resolve and Grab the Prize, which is kind of a cool card. Outside of that, I have some things over here in the sideboard, which are things I talked about in the outro. One thing right away, if you don't necessarily watch the outro, this is a card I thought was in the Commander set. Didn't realize it until I recorded the entire video. I had to kind of cut the video shorter than I wanted to, because I started getting server disconnections, and I don't want to record and be in the middle of the game and then get disconnected again, which is what ended up happening. But this is a card that I did not put in the deck. Definitely would recommend trying it out with this card in the deck, because this card is kind of crazy for a deck like this. But overall, there's a couple other options in here that I talked about in this deck overall. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the games. It's an ideal hand. We have a talent early, and we can upgrade it while also removing things along the way, probably. So we'll try this, of course. See what's up. Okay, this should give us time to do stuff. My turn, please. We want to save all these while we can. Play a talent. We don't necessarily need more than 1. The only real fear is if they are like a bounce deck, then we can't do anything. will go. Now our entire hand is super cheap. Synthesizer, of course, very good. But overall, we have a very, very, very good play. So we get to play talent here. I will cycle a shock away because we want to find Urbrask, obviously. Then I'm going to play this. I'm going to destroy all artifacts from mana value 3 or less. Discard this. Discard this. There's an Urbrask, so now we're ready to go. Now we just wait. Let's say we'll deal 3 damage to each opponent. You can create control, repurposing bay, sure. And bobble, sure. Looking to get that activated. It's fine. We find land, which we need to play here. So we play Urbrask. And then we can wait, I guess. The only problem is they couldn't technically answer it. We don't have the thing for it at all. The only other thing I'd want to do is maybe cast a bunch of spells next turn so I can then like protect it, I guess, you know. This is a Tithing Blade. Yeah, I should have known that. That's why I didn't really like playing it out there. I should have just maybe reduced or like even pump this up a bit more. We need the Virtue now. We need kind of a positive card. My abilities can't be activated. That's whatever. Just don't want me to be able to upgrade that one and right on cue. So I'm just going to max this out. Now I have to dig for another Urbrask because I'm a dummy. I'm not going to right now though. I think our hand's too solid. I think I just wait. His Virtue's 100% going to be able to help us find it on the following turn. The last thing I want to do is clunk up a ton of lands in my hand. Leyline Axe, okay. Like, okay to do, right? Because you get to sacrifice that one kind of for free. We grab a 5 mana thing. Ice Stone, Weak Stone, sure. Draw 2. They could have went and got a Synthesizer, but they didn't. Reading that's only activated abilities. They're trying to make sure I can't reduce my spells by any more, but that's not necessarily that relevant for us right now. But here we go. We're off. Lightning Strike. Activate. Discard Burst Lightning. There's a land. We discard land. There's a Monument. Monument is good. We'll take this action. There's an Urbrask. This should be the game. We'll play Urbrask. We will then cast a... Guess I'll cast a Rend Resolve. Urbrask will ping. Virtue will trigger. We'll take the action. We'll get rid of a Monument, I suppose, because we won't have the mana. We'll decline on both of these. There's a Monument, a Rend Resolve. We'll just keep firing off these Rend Resolves for as long as we need to. Again, the talents don't have to be activated, but the Virtues will. And now we go for Lightning Strike. That mana replace, Virtue trigger. We draw. We do no discard. No discard. And then we do a draw 3 essentially. And now we do this. Yeah, our opponent says nice. Our deck is, I would argue, pretty cool. It's kind of an old deck. It was a thing before. I believe, I could be wrong on this. I believe it came from Japan. Like a Japanese tournament, but take action, decline, decline, 2. It does take a little while to get through. And then just like that, we will deal 2 from this. And then that should be all said and done. Just spam the spacebar. Decline, decline, 2. There we go. Very cool. So an artifact deck obviously gives us the time that we need to set up. But I think the main priority is having Artist Talent in our opener. Obviously, I made a misplay with the Urbrask Forge, forgetting, like, hey, man, they just go grab this artifact and kill your Urbrask Forge. And I was like, or my Urbrask. Not my Urbrask Forge. I keep saying Forge. But get your Urbrask off the battlefield. You really only want to play this on the turn ready to combo, as you saw there. But very cool. We move on. Well, we have an artist talent. And we're kind of ready to go, I guess. We have Burst Lightning. We're on the play. We get to set an artist talent into play. Maybe level it up. Maybe our opponent bounces it. We put a hole in the wall. And we're fine, you know? Everything's good. Hunky-dory. Fine. Dandle duty. Nice. Typically, whenever I see... Oh, it's a lizards? It has to be lizards, right? Oh, this hood end's going to be fantastic. This definitely tells us it's lizards for more than anything. That's each opponent. I can't really deal much with that, so I'm just going to level this up. Now, they could do a crazy turn here. There's definitely a very good chance that they hit me, play the... I don't remember what it's called. I know the other version is Burning Tree Emissary. We'll probably see it here. Oh, no. Enjoy my hand. It is definitely something. It's definitely something. Probably Virtue. Virtue's how I combo if they know how my deck works. I will most likely use my Virtue this turn regardless. Whether what they do. Do they do Burst Lightning? Virtue, I could see like the argument, well, Virtue's more expensive or whatever. But they get rid of Virtue. Definitely the right move. Now, go for the third's definitely possible here. So, Urbrask Forge does feel weird. Both these creatures have Menace. I think I just go for Grab the Prize. Getting rid of Burst Lightning here. I'll decline on this. Oh, Season of the Bold is the hit, huh? Level this up on the final mode, I suppose. Didn't think I was going to get here, but if a source we control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, deals that much damage plus 2. So Urbrask Forge now hits for... Urbrask Forge. Why am I calling this Urbrask? Like, I know why I am, but Urbrask now hits for 3 on every kind of trick it does. We can't do this until the turn or next turn, whenever you cast spell, deals 2 damage up to 1 target creature. Ready to tap treasure. That's the end of our next turn. Okay. Fine, I guess. Weirdly enough, Season of the Bold can actually be used here, which is fine. Exile top 2 cards of your library until the next turn. You may play them. All good. Urbrask is definitely the other combo piece in our hand. Brotherhood End would help us entirely reset this board. But we also have to hit that, obviously, right? So, it's a little weird. The Micro Synth Garden's probably got a question mark on it. I could definitely imagine. I know the one time I saw it in like a mono red color deck, I was like, why is that in there? We have it for Monument. Definitely a hard choice. I don't disagree with their choice there. But let's see if we can't win. So we get to play, I guess we probably won't win. Let's see if we can flip this, I guess, is the argument, right? So add a colorless, play Urbrask. Cast this. We have to discard this. Urbrask triggers does 3 to Burst Lightning. Do we just go face, right? We have to. Like a clear front hook, line, sinker kind of play, right? Oh, just misses. Unfortunate. But we do have a reset, so they'll probably answer. Oh, they don't. I said go for the third earlier. They don't actually have a black mana for it. Brotherhood End's going to nuke everything, even my Urbrask, technically. If a source would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent... Never mind. We're good. Okay. Fine. Everything's fine. Guys, everything's okay. Guys and gals, how we doing? Oh, just playing our little cheeky combo deck, pretending like we're doing nothing bad. Our opponent's like, dude, this guy's going to nuke us on 1 spell cast. No land drop, all menace, gain some life, obviously. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we are going to do some absolute nonsense here. Let's just Brotherhood in, deal 3 damage to all creatures. And then get rid of this grab. Because we don't have a card to pitch with it. Oh, another Urbrass. It's not great. But we'll hit for 4. Down to 2 our opponent goes. Maybe we could have held this and seen what we drew next time, but you have to discard a card as an additional cost to cast. So we can't meet the description of the card without waiting a turn. The problem they're going to have is Urbrass is going to be a lethal swing every turn, but we are at 6. We could also just be dead. It's a Witchstalker Frenzy or something. Double Lightning Strike, slow rolling me to oblivion. Pretty good. Good. There's a Burst Lightning, and now nothing matters. Her Brass Forge trigger will end the game on its own. Burst Lightning would have dealt 6, but it's all okay. Win there against kind of a aggro deck that definitely could have taken off if their hand was slightly different, although these actually did do work. We would have had a lot to do with these, but if they would have played, I can't think of what it's called now, but the lizard that enters and gives them a red and a black mana in return, it could have pumped out a lot of things. They didn't play like a Gav or anything, so fortunately we were pretty well off there, so we'll move on. Going first, we have the talent they mauled. We have a little bit of removal. I typically like to keep the hands with talent in it over pretty much anything, but we'll see what happens here. Another land ripped off the top. Virtue kind of our play. Looks like they have a burn spell, or maybe one to hold on to. Perfectly fine with us, obviously. We'll go talent. Okay. They're not going to play anything. Most likely they mold to a very aggressive hand if they draw a creature, or they're just on burn. Lightning Strike upstairs for 3. Honestly, without a prowess creature in play, I'm pretty okay with that. Typically the main problem there is a prowess creature also doming you. We're most likely just going to level this. What happens? Maybe take another burn spell to the dome, because now even if they cast a creature for 2, they're only going to have 1 mana to operate with. I'll take another Lightning Strike. Again, no creature with prowess. I feel pretty good. Maybe this is a Burst Lightning as well. We can make tokens. We can do Rend Resolve probably. Now we just really need to draw an Urbrask at some point. Just kind of why this is so tempting. Create a tap treasure, exile top 2 cards till end of your next turn. Until the end of your next turn, whenever you cast a spell, suitable deals 2 damage up to 1 target creature. Not necessarily great. This is sorcery in this matchup specifically. So I'm going to cast Rend Resolve, see kind of what we get. I think I already played a land, but we get these till next turn. I'll get rid of a garden. Talent, Lightning Strike. I already played a land. Now we have this Lightning Strike available. I could have went for a Virtue, I suppose. Just one of those weird things where it's like, what to do, you know? Let's play the talent. Let's get rid of a gardens here. This would end okay. Not necessarily the best. We'll pass here. With this land drop and a Virtue, we're pretty well set up to pop off, but even just an Urbrask with how much kind of power and stuff we have on the board, we're pretty well set. I will go ahead and cast this. I'll get rid of Brotherhood End. Again, we are just fully digging for an Urbrask Forge at this point. Using the Bold can go, I think, as well. And also, like, might just be digging to find lethal at this point. Play a land. Play a Virtue, and then discard land, discard land. Sure. We might literally be set up to just win with our damage in hand. When does this go away? Whenever a sword's control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of the library. You may play those cards this turn. Okay, so it'll go away regardless. They just keep hitting lands. They're just playing burn, and all they hit is lands. I do think I go for a lightning strike here. I'm not going to trigger this virtue. I just want to keep looking. Burst lightning can go. Grab your prize is pretty good. Spot like this. Rend Resolve gives us more looks. This is till end of turn. We'll most likely hit an Urbrass Forge if we do that. Or, I keep saying Urbrass Forge, man. Why do I keep doing that? It's actually going to make me tilt. Is what it's going to do. I'm like so locked into saying Urbrass Forge, I can't solve my own problems anymore. These cards are fine. Much rather wait, see what we hit. And I didn't discard anything, so no damage dealt there. Let us send a lightning strike upstairs. Let's do a draw 3 here. Card. Card. The action. Okay. Play land from here. We'll do this. Get rid of this. Just now need points-ish of damage on each one of our spells here. No lands to hit, but our opponent concedes. Sure. The craziest part is I think I'm going to end up just short, which is wild. Because this doesn't necessarily get me there, and I only have the 3 mana. Man, this deck is such a weird one to play. I feel like I'm just doing everything wrong. I also keep pronouncing cards wrong, which is obviously awesome. All right, we move on. All right, going first, a lot of removal, monument, virtue. Need the talent at this point. But I say that this deck needs so much to some extent. Like, you need an Urbrass to do everything, but you definitely need a talent. There's just no other option. Well, all right. Don't mind if I do, brother. Okay, they have a flood. Give me a fish. My hand's pretty stacked. I don't think I'm doing anything. Please, no. Don't bounce my monument. Oh. Oh. Okay. Nice. I do have 3 removal spells for an Omniscience, I guess. Yes. And I do get to do a lot of crazy stuff here. Now, if they didn't take the Abuelo, so clearly they have one in hand. I don't have any type of counter magic. So I think instead of... Ooh, we could make that a copy, but they can always respond, I guess. How much faster do I win if that's the case? I have no idea what the answer is. I'm gonna do this. Talent. Only taking things that go dumb. Gonna race. They're now at 15. So you go. I have 2 removal spells in case they put an Omniscience in the graveyard and reanimate it. And they don't have a second Omniscience. Or, I don't know, they can have double counterspell. And then I don't get to do anything. But we're in this weird spot of the game. Ooh, no Omniscience in the graveyard. Let's go. I still think they have a Flood Maul. Or whatever the card's called. I don't know what they would have for 1 mana. I think they're now deciding on what to do, but they don't know either. Fair. But know either, to be honest. That's fine. That is hunky-dory for me, boss. Nice. So, lightning, sure. I'm going to cast another spell here, so I want to draw a card. I just don't think we have time for Urbrask. That's the only problem. And we're just a burn them while we can kind of thing. Hey, there's my permanent. Discard a card. I only have a white left. I have not reduced that. No, I don't think so. Not made my spells cheaper. Don't have a way to necessarily do it. And they don't have a way to put one in the graveyard currently, right? So I guess it's this. I don't know what it is. Is it this? And then it's this to just try to chain, I guess. Just hope that 1 mana gets me there, because I do play Shocks and Burst Lightnings. Also, I guess if I hit a land, I can afford to play like a Lightning Strike. We have 2 in here and 1 in hand, so we only have 3 left. Do we play 6 1-drops? Sure, dude. Get him in here. Oh, fair enough. Oh, dude, man, I just... I got so tight. I was like, oh, no. Please don't do it. Please, bro. I don't need that. Now, they clearly probably have the counter spell, too. Even if I go for this, it's going to be tough. You have a fish. Have a fish. Come on, cast like Chart of Course or something. Go for it. What's this 1/1 fish gonna do? Or yeah, put the blocker in the way. This 1/1 fish is dangerous. An absolute monster. A game closer, if you would. Think they're buying it? Oh boy. Whatever you do, don't make me pick my virtue back up, because I will cry. I will do it. Yeah, because counterspell's just so good. I will say the monument did feel fine, but my opponent is somehow getting infinite amount of time, so I will wait and come back whenever they're back. Okay, I guess they just Salt Raged. What a epic conclusion of this game. Go straight to combat. This is also a trick, by the way. If you think, like, for example, we know for the fact that our opponent has a spell to use. If you think maybe, because this has happened sometimes, where opponents will, like, Salt Rage, and then they'll try to get you by, like, actually being there. They'll wait till their timer runs out, and then they'll try to get you on it. Just go to combat or just do something that forces them to have to respond. In a spot like this where they have a spell like the Picklock Prankster that they can cycle at instant speed, they actually have to do something. If they time out here, Arena takes away their entire priority for the turn, so they will never get to respond during your turn. So if they time out here, we'll just get to play this Urbrask. We'll get to go in and try to win the game, which is very nice. Or Arena makes them concede, and we don't know whether we get there or not. Okay, cool. The worst part is, honestly, did I have fun? Did I have fun this match? Did I have fun that my opponent didn't hit the Omniscience in their top 20, and they rage salted off? Yeah, I had a great time. Fair enough, dude. I don't know. All right, we go first. We'll definitely keep this. think they just mauled. I don't know. I blinked and their hand moved, so I think they mulliganed. Yeah. Pass. I don't know if anybody here has ever watched like Call of Duty before. There's a clip where a player one time blinked and it actually cost them a map, which is crazy. They were like watching their screen and they blinked and a player ran across their face in that screen and they lost the game because of it, which is quite absurd. Those ores off, I have no idea what they are. I'm just gonna get rid of the land. Just want to draw 2 cards. I don't really care about the 2 damage per se, but land and then pass. I mean, we're just loading up on cards here. Urbrass going to be a little bit tough. I would obviously want to play a talent over anything, but Get Lost could definitely be a card in their arsenal. Tetramos, I can't remove that one. I'll tell you that right now. I can't touch that one. Ah, man. So that just means Urbrass is dead, huh? He's dead on arrival, yeah? Get rid of... Oh, I had too many lands for your boy. I'm gonna get rid of Mountain here. Honestly, the way this game is going, they might just lose to trying to get Tetramos because they have to draw 7 cards unless they play like a Rest in Peace or something. If they go with that route, then pretty okay. They strike upstairs. I'm not gonna send it on your 4/4 indestructible creature. I don't think. Doesn't seem like a very good move to me. Get Lost is a card they can play. I don't need Artist Talent if I just pop off with his Virtue, huh? Do I just play it and hope they can't answer it? Or do I just use it as a burn spell and then play it next turn and Burst Lightning them, maybe? What are the odds they have a Get Lost? Or they're not just like exile spells? I'm gonna slam it, dude. Oftentimes, I don't like to use it in these slower matchups without doing the grind factor to it, where you get the extra little bit of burn damage. Alright, so we're demo fielding. Sure. It kind of also went straight to combat. They look like they were auto-passing. Yep, definitely Surge. Now I can Burst Lightning and get cards, but this is... You may play those cards this turn, so even if we use it here, we don't get those cards. We don't get them in our following turn, which kind of sucks for a 5-drop. Work that way, right? Like, why does this work that way? I'm not sure, but... Yeah. I feel as though... Burst Lightning good, but I feel... I don't want to be like that guy, but I feel like this is the take. Could be wrong. Yeah, that makes sense. The thing that replaces the mana. Huh. Again, cannot use this. I guess these are play. I should have waited, right? That's Lightning Strike. They could draw 3 here. Does this work for that? I have no idea. Interesting. Play this one. I hit a 2-drop, a 5-drop, and a 4-drop, and I'm supposed to pretend like everything's okay. Now, I did actually just fuel Tetramos, which kind of sucks. Weird. So my Virtue is just going to straight up fuel that. I'm not a big fan. Okay. This can't even block, right? Tetramos can't attack or block unless there are 7 more cards. Okay. Combat? 4? Play another garden, I suppose. Just kick this. Tough, huh? Gain 4, which isn't like the most impressive thing in the world. Copy of target non-token artifact you control. Tough. Ass, I guess. Grabber Prize is a very good card here. Use this, play grab. Get rid of this. Brass gonna trigger for 1. Place the mana for us. Gonna take a draw too. Oh wait, yo, we might actually win here. Get really, really close. Every one of these is 3 damage. I can kick this for 4. That'll be 5. How do you deal 3 mana to target opponent and each creature they control? I'm pretty sure I win here, which is crazy. So I think I can offspring this. I can burst lightning, and then I can flip this. Yeah, I believe so. So we kick her. We off. I said offspring. We kick her. We then burst lightning normally, and then we flip Urbrask. Actually, never mind. This just also does it because math's hard, and I hate doing math. That sucks. I wanted to flip the Urbrask for the win, but holy moly. What a weird game to win. As we saw Ketramos do literally nothing. I played Caretaker's Talent because this happened to me too many times, where I just played a Ketramos and I went, go forever. Very cool. But, yeah, nice. Do I by any means think this hand's good? Not really, but we'll keep. I get hit with a Hopeless Nightmare and a Pixie or something. Okay, another Virtue. Perfect. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and just throw that in the yard and take a draw too, I suppose. Artist Talent, pretty good card. Obviously, land would be best draw. Deep Cavern Bat, sure. Kind of has to take Shock, or it could take one of the Virtues, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm going to go for Artist Talent anyway. And then they'll play an Unstoppable Slasher. Any Unstoppable Slashers? And we'll probably shoot the bat down. Shoot comes out. No land hit, huh? Go for Artist Talent. We just have to hope here. I can always Virtue and Shock. A Liliana. Okay, that hurts.
Something
is fine.
suspicious is
Does
going
kind of suck.
And for once, it's not my fault. Drop it.
Rinse Resolve can go. Cut down obviously goes for them. Fair enough. Fair enough. A land hit's huge. A land hit is massive. So now I can do one of two things. I can make all my spells cost cheaper, which does seem like a decent idea. This is all non-creature spells, and I feel like that's a good idea. Even though there is a Lily in play, this card coming in and the damage and the amount of cards that I'll draw will make Lily look bad. Bloodletter, sure. A whole lot I can do about that.
Don't overthink things.
Discarding a card here. Have a Virtue here, so I don't necessarily need this one. Much as like, is Rin Resolve and everything going to pop off way more, I guess? Although I can answer this while also drawing a ton. This is a tough one. I guess it's just Urbrask. I don't know if I have time for it. Liliana's about to ult too. Brotherhood In would be a fantastic draw. This is pretty close. I can do Virtue here. Pitch Season of the Bold. We do draw on land, which is honestly not that bad. I cast Rin Resolve. See if we hit anything in there. I will decline the flip for now. Double land. Brutal. I will then Virtue, which my Virtue will now be protected. I'll get rid of land now, though. And then I will play Shock here. Fine. And now Lily can plus. I will lose Burst Lightning. I can play my Virtue.
We all have things we'd rather.
Okay. Each opponent. I can't even use this, which is kind of crazy. Play Virtue. Definitely gonna get rid of this. See if we can't hit a burn spell. Fortunately, we miss. Now we pass. Now they have to decide on ulting Liliana. If they have another Liliana, it's fine. A plus.
Don't overthink things.
Why? Why every time? Alright, if you have an alt Liliana, I don't know what it's going to be. All my spells or all my lands? That would make sense. I don't know how it's going to work.
Flashing before your very eyes.
That would make sense in general. I think this last card in your hand's a land. Kind of putting a cold read on him is going to be the best choice. I said that'd be 8 lands. But what? 8 lands. They have 46, so 8 other cards. So it's 8 and 8. If that's the land, you play probably 24. What pile do I sacrifice? My Urbrass, my Virtue, and 2 lands? Or do I keep... I think the talent matters way more, right? So it's 2 lands, these 2, especially considering I have a Virtue in my hand. Actually, yeah, especially because if it is a removal spell, I'm not going to be happy. Removal spell, but it's something. Land off the top is actually huge. No draw for us. We're kind of 1 card away. Playing Acklazot's while you're at it, dude. Come on now. Unholy Annex. Okay, we had to think about that. Actually, I guess they probably were just thinking whether they make a 6/6 or not. That makes sense. Okay. So it may begin. Hey. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Sure. Am I able to cast? Oh, because I can make a mana there. Oh, boy.
It's no fun when they hit back.
All right. You got it. Oh. I go to 1. All right, team. Oh, yes. The perfect draw after hitting 3 lands in that pile. Very awesome. Bro, oh, man. It sucks so much when the game could be so climactic and they're like, nah, here's another land. Good luck. I'm just like, okay, dude. Okay, so here we are. I was actually going to play a little bit more, but the servers just kept crashing, which was a little tough. So obviously I'm just going to call it now because I don't want to keep playing games and have the server crash. I think it like was unable to connect. I restarted, I got in and it said unable to verify, and then it somehow then immediately let me in. I don't know. But this is what I was playing. This is where I ended up. Honestly, I think we had to play it in the past. I don't think it's worth playing now. Season of the Bold seems just bad in this deck overall. I do think there might be a card that I'm missing. They can kind of do what Urbrass does, where it kind of replaces the mana from Aetherdrift. I actually don't know. This is going to be one of the longer outros, by the way, because I think we're going to try to discover if there's anything maybe in here we could be playing that might work out well. Honestly, this is a card I thought about just because it has exhaust on it. But this would be okay, but engines being started that early is a little bit tough. Doesn't make any sense. We play Lightning Strike. Look, team. But that doesn't make much sense. This wouldn't be bad either. Whenever this champion enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Creatures gain haste. Maybe not super relevant, but like we play an Urbrass that turn, we could do it. Exile top card library. You may play. Didn't put this card in our deck today, dude. Didn't put this card in my. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I thought this was in the commander set. I did not think this was a card I got to play. Oh, this card would have been so good. It would have been so much better than this. Oh, I'm upset. This card would have been so much better. Yeah, so we probably should have played Count on Your Luck. Count on Luck, because we'd put a card right in exile. We get to use it for free. If we have it in artist talent leveled up, like, it's just 2 extra cards a turn, right? At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Yeah, I mean, that's 2 draws. This is honestly awesome. I almost think it's even better than Monument. Monument obviously was able to put in a lot of work in one of the games. That was kind of the idea behind it. Like, use it as a backup plan here with this. If like Urbrask are obviously too hard to get down, and we have this online, and then like maybe a slower grindier like Domain, for example, that doesn't have a leyline binding, this plan's really good. But yeah, maybe we should have played this card. Yeah, okay. Well, let's keep moving on. Find another card that I should probably play over it. Chandra, I don't think so. Boom, no. Not really. This is extra combat, right? Yeah, no. No, okay. So I think really the only card we missed, and now that I see it, I'm going to throw it in the sideboard so when I come back to this later, it's definitely Count on Luck. I definitely think that should have been something we played, maybe definitely over this. Honestly, I understand making like a lot of treasures the next turn you're going to try to combo off, but I think Best of One's a little too fast for that. It felt bad. Like, it's already hard enough to get this down. Another card that I thought about, and now I have Aetherdrift highlighted, so it's not going to work. Maybe would have just been better to seize the spoils, especially if we're playing Monument, because it's like an additional cast. We discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create a treasure. The main issue is with the meta, and kind of a problem I had with Grab the Prize, was the fact that it was like, I oftentimes had this in hand. I actually didn't have a card to discard with it. So this is a card I would think about. And then there was one other card. What was it? As plot, I believe. Yeah, Highway Robbery. If you discard a card or sacrifice a land, if you do draw 2 cards, definitely something you can, against those discard decks, set up on the turn. So you're able to, maybe this 2 damage doesn't matter, which I didn't really track if it did or didn't matter. But with the Highway Robbery, you can at least cast it for free on the following turns, right? Like, you can just go ahead and plot it, and the turn you're like, okay, well, I have the talent in play. The card in my hand kind of sucks. I just need to find Urbrask. Like, we can then start doing robberies. Or if we're make combos and stuff like that, then, you know, just get rid of that land. It's not doing us any good at all. So, that said, maybe that's where we should be. Other than that, I don't know. I really don't have a lot of options when it comes to playing other red spells for this deck. Maybe, like, is there anything that makes treasure? This is a cool deck, and I kind of like maybe sometimes doing what we're doing now. Charming Scoundrel wouldn't be a bad option. Magda is whenever you commit a crime, create a tap treasure token. This ability only triggers once a turn. Okay, maybe Magda would be fine. Glorious Plunder is like a good shout, I think. There's a lot of decent cards we actually could play. Look at the coin is too bad, I think. This is probably too bad. What is this? Whenever this creature attacks while sat up. Okay, well, we have to attack with that, and we can't even. We have like 1 creature. We're never doing that. Other than that, I think that's about it. I guess Hell to Pay could be one. X damage target creature, created X treasure tokens, amount of excess damage, but I think that card's just bad in general. Yeah, I think that's about where we would be. I think that's fine. I think what we want to play these cards maybe, and kind of reapproach the stack. Maybe Monument's just a little too bad in this variation, and maybe it's like being a little too cute in our deck, which is definitely possible. It's definitely a thing that I have kind of done in the past where I try to make a card good, and it's like, well, if we cut the card we're building around and just play what we got going for us, maybe that would have been a better plan. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy regardless, and I'll catch you then. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.